BC, what's going on? Welcome back. This is HubTunes. I am Mike, as I am Mike every single time you see these videos. Guess what I'm doing? I'm creating a vinyl tag. This is going to be a thread for 2021. I know you guys are probably sick of this crap, but I had been thinking about doing this for months, and I wanted to wait until like June to do it. And then all of a sudden everyone started doing vinyl tags. So what the hell, I'm going to do it anyway. I know you guys are probably sick of them, but they're fun. They're a great way to show deeper albums in your collection and just different way to show your stuff and talk about your stuff and tell stories. So what I'm going to do is I got a list of 20 questions, which is standard 20 question vinyl tag thread. Going to in a celebration of live music coming back. We're here in the US. Music festivals are happening. Lollapalooza is happening. All these different music festivals, their tickets are on. We're going. We're live. Concert tickets are going on sale like crazy. Every time I look at an email, I have a list, of concerts after concert. All these venues are they're jamming us with live music now, which is awesome. So excited. Clubs are opening. I have a jazz club just down the street from my house. Great place. He gets top-notch jazz musicians, really good professional local Chicagoans who are awesome. And he's packed every night. Hopefully everyone's got a vaccine. But so that's kind of what we're going to celebrate here, is the return of live music after a year and a half of darkness. If you guys follow this channel, you know I love live music, and I couldn't be happier that I get to go see a concert next week. I'm super, super excited. So we're going to do this thread in a celebration of live music returning to the world. And so what I've done is I got 20 questions. They are just prompts of bands that you've seen, bands you hated, bands you wanted to see. You'll get the gist, obviously. It's not rocket science. So what I'll do is I'll go through the 20 questions. I'll also post them in the description I hope they all fit. So I'll do that, and you don't have to show an artist. You don't have to show a live album. You don't have to show, you can show an album from an artist that you saw live. It's not a big deal. It could be, someone you saw at Woodstock or Altamont or Lollapalooza or Glastonbury or it could be just somebody you saw in like I said, a local jazz club. However you guys want to do it. You can also go off script. I know many of you do. I go off script on a lot of stuff. I'm off script right now. So yeah, you play with it. Make it your own. Make it fun. Just get out there and promote live music and bands, and go support these local artists and go see them live. Buy their merch, shit like that. It means a lot. It really does in this age of streaming. I know we all stream. I stream, but getting out there and supporting these bands and these artists is so important. So please do that. Let's just start. I should be able to do this without notes because they're my questions. But I got my notes all right here. And we'll just go through this. This may take a little bit because they got a really nice New Zealand Chardonnay. It's really tasty. I probably should have brought the bottle so I could fill my glass. Okay, let's start. Number 1. Name a band you have seen live the most. This will be no surprise to anybody, but it's the Grateful Dead for me. I saw the Grateful Dead 50 times. The 50th time was Jerry's last show here in Chicago at Soldier Field. This is the MoFi. This is Skull and Roses MoFi edition, and absolutely beautiful, beautiful pressing of Skull and Roses. You guys have, most Deadheads know this record. It is fantastic. Recorded right around or before the Europe 72 shows. So it's in that same vein of bluesy country rock. Great, great album. Number 2, favorite live band that I have seen. This was a tough one because obviously I saw the Grateful Dead 50 times, so I obviously enjoyed them. I've seen so many bands and it's really hard, but this is a band that every time I saw them and walked out, they were absolutely amazing, and I was spellbound afterwards. And this is Santana. Carlos Santana, any version of Santana is phenomenal live. This happens to be my favorite Santana album. Caravanserai. This is, if you guys don't know this album, check this out. This is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Your typical Santana sound. There were no hits on this. I don't believe there were any hits. I could be wrong. I don't remember. No, there were no hits on this, but you don't need them. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous album. Check this album out if you get a chance. And this is a quadraphonic. I've had this for ages. It sounds great. Okay, next. Number 3. Biggest surprise live. This was tough also. All these, majority of these questions were tough for me. But the biggest surprise live was a band that I always enjoyed their albums, but I didn't get them. I mean, they were good, and I bought a few of their albums, and I was like, well, they're great, but I never got the hubbub about them until I saw them live, and that is The Hives. Now, this is a British UK punk band. They were pretty big in the 90s, I would say. I was blown away when I finally saw them live, and I just saw them probably about 2 years ago. They played here in Chicago. They did a quick tour of the US, maybe like 10 or 12 shows, and these guys live are the shit. They are crazy fun, absolute fun. Their music takes, I mean, their albums are kind of powerful anyway, hard edged, fun records. Seeing them live elevates, every song is elevated to 11. They are phenomenal live. If you ever get a chance to see The Hives and you like punk rock and just a really good time. They're obnoxious, they're arrogant, they're British, they're just nuts. And I walked out of that place, I looked at my buddy, I was like, that was one of the best concerts I've ever seen. I was not expecting it. So that is biggest surprise band. Really cool. They were absolutely crazy. Okay, worst live band you ever saw. Well, I've seen a lot of shit-ass bands. But I'm going to go with this one because it always sticks in my memory. I actually don't have an album by them that I could find. I wasn't sure. But this is Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. But I went to see Crosby, Stills and Nash. And I want to say this is in the mid-'80s at a place called Poplar Creek outside of Chicago. They were promoting, it was Crosby, Stills and Nash. It wasn't the Daylight Again album, which I really liked. That was the one with Southern Cross and Wasted on the Way. That was a wonderful album. It was the one that came right after that, I believe. I want to say it was called American Dream. It was hot garbage. They were awful live. They rearranged all. I should probably not show this masterpiece while I'm talking about how shitty this concert was. They rearranged all of their classic songs. They rearranged Our House. It had like Phil Collins drumming, and everything was absolutely destroyed. It was awful. And I mean, I was in a row, and by 5 songs in, everyone in my row, they all got up and left. Everyone was leaving. By mid-show, the pavilion was empty. People were walking out on Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And I was pretty young. I was probably 16, 17 years old. I was thrilled that I was actually getting to see Crosby, Stills, and Nash. They were like, gods to me back then. And I was just discovering their music and everything. And it was horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. I'm thinking it was probably 83, maybe 83 or 84. But Crosby, Stills, and Nash, one of the worst bands I've ever seen live. I'm sure they've been much better since on other tours. And I'm sure they were much better before that. It was that whole era of like just 80s drumming and overproduction. You guys know what I'm talking about. Number 5. First band you ever saw live. I didn't have to think about this. This was an easy one. Because my dad took me to the concert. Saw the Rolling Stones on this tour. This is the Rolling Stones Still Life tour, 1981. I actually think I saw them in 82. I'm going to argue that no, maybe it was 81. Yeah, well, either way, I'm old. This is Still Life Talking, or no, just Still Life. Not a great live album. Not a great tour, really. Just stadiums across the world. Bad outfits by Mick. Just not the greatest Rolling Stones tour, but huge. Absolutely huge. I saw him at Soldier Field, which, football stadium. That's all you really need to know. We had to get tickets. You had to get tickets by lottery in the in the newspaper. There was on the back page of one of the newspapers, you cut out a coupon, you filled it out, you sent your SAISY in and hoped that you got tickets drawn, and I did. I got 2 tickets, one for me and one for my dad. Yeah, Rolling Stones, first concert I ever went to, and I've seen them probably 7 or 8 times since. They've been much better. Actually, I think it was the 2013 tour where they had Mick Taylor come out and jam with them. That was a great tour. And I saw them on the last tour also, and they were really, really good then too, because they're not doing back-to-back shows. They're not as fucked up, and well, anyway, you know the story of the Rolling Stones. So, first band I ever saw live, Rolling Stones. The last band I saw live, right before lockdown, I saw Wire. Yes, Wire. They are still around making music too. Really good music. Nothing groundbreaking. You're not gonna, change the world with a Wire album from 2017. But they're still touring. They're still really, really good, and they have a great sense of humor. They totally get that they're old. But this is my favorite Wire album. This is Chairs Missing. I love this album. They played a bunch of stuff from this. When I saw them, they played I think they played 3 songs from this. And everyone always complains that, Wire doesn't play their old stuff. They played a bunch of old stuff when I saw them. So, and that was just 2020. It was right before lockdown. In fact, there was concern that the show would be canceled and I think 2 days later, Chicago shut down. So we definitely probably should not have been going to see a concert at that time. But it was well worth it. really good live act. Still sound great. They played a lot of stuff, old and new. So check them out. They actually put out a couple of albums during pandemic. I think there were 2 new albums during 2020. So yeah, still making great music. Next up is a band you're going to see live in the upcoming weeks and months. I am going to see a concert next week, and I've talked about this guy before. He is Chicagoan Neil Francis. Guys, don't sleep on him. This guy is awesome. You guys, seriously, don't sleep on him. He's a piano virtuoso. He is I tried to say that word after I've had half a bottle of wine. He is a piano virtuoso. And he is very funky. He's got kind of a New Orleans sound, a little Little Feetish, a little bit of Dr. John mixed in. Just a really good 70s groove, really good vibe. This is his debut album. It's called Changes. It's on Karma Chief, Translucent Yellow. Just a good guy, really good guy. We've been seeing him here in Chicago for years. And, it was one of those concerts where you could just, you go to the merch table and there's a couple of CDs, that he burned or whatever. And everybody was just kind of wondering when are you going to make an album? And this is it. Came out in, I want to say, here we go, guys. Look at that. The Mind Shields are on Cosmic Brian. 2017. So yeah, this is Changes by Neil Francis. Check him out. Really, really cool artist. I am gonna plug that guy so much because I think he's so freaking talented. Next up is, I can see this one. This is a favorite concert memory. I had the great pleasure, I had a good friend who lived in, I still have friends who live in Austin. And I had the great pleasure of going to Austin regularly for a couple of years. And I would go down to see, we would see everybody down there. What a fun city it used to be. I haven't been for a few years, so I hear it's changed. I'm sure it's still fun. But I had the great pleasure of going to Austin City Limits a few times. Wonderful venue that they have that outdoor music festival in. Not a huge outdoor music person. I would much prefer seeing people in small clubs. But ACL does it absolutely perfect. It's a huge space. The crowds are, you got plenty of space, and you don't feel like you're at a huge venue like you do at like Lollapalooza or something. But I had the pleasure of seeing Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and I believe it was this tour. I'm pretty sure it was the Mojo tour. He was the headliner. I believe it was the second night, and as he was playing the Fleetwood Mac song, was it? Wow, God, was it Rattle? What was the Fleetwood Mac song? Fleetwood Mac. It was Oh Well. He was playing Oh Well. Thank you for all of you who are screaming Oh Well, Oh Well. He was playing the Fleetwood Mac song Oh Well, and as he was playing it, I don't know if it was in the set or if he saw this thunderstorm just crawling in over us, and he thought it would be a great, it was just perfect. And you guys know this song, it's a bluesy, rolling kind of just instrumental. It starts out, and this thunderstorm was coming in from behind us, and the lightning in the sky was just, but it wasn't raining. And this probably went on for like maybe 5-10 minutes, and the wind started whooping around, and the lightning was going, and the boom, the thunder was going crazy, but no rain. nothing. And he's just playing oh well, and that the band was jamming, absolutely jamming. And then the rain came, and it was an absolute nightmare. I actually hid in a porta potty for about an hour. But this is Tom Petty, and this is his album Mojo, which is a really good late career album. Terrific photo of the Heartbreakers in the gatefold. That is one of my favorite concert memories. I was with my good friend Bruce, who has since passed, and it was probably one of those you had to be there just to witness what I just described. But it was amazing, absolutely amazing. And Tom Petty was clearly one of the great live acts of all time. Just so appreciative and such a great energy about him. Sorely missed. So next, you guys don't have to like tell all these crazy stories and shit. I'm just doing it because it's my tag. Artist you want to see live. This is a band I want to see live, and I'm going to see them live, I hope, this year, because they have a new album coming out in a few weeks. This is a band called Villagers, kind of a folky electronic band. I'm not sure where they're from. This is The Art of Pretending to Swim. It's a wonderful record. Not their most recent. They do have another one in between this and what's coming out. Cool artwork. Yeah, really cool. This came with a 10-inch single on a little red vinyl going on there. Not that you guys care that it's on red. This is a really cool folky electronic band. Not even electronic. I wouldn't even go for that far. Just modern day folk. Really groovy band, Villagers. Check them out. They got, I think, 3 albums plus the one that's coming out in a few weeks. Really cool band. Next one is an artist that you regret never seeing, that you kind of wish you had seen. Obviously, Led Zeppelin. I would have loved to have seen Led Zeppelin, but it was not possible. But Ray Charles is somebody who I could have seen in my lifetime, but I didn't, and I just never did. And I wish I had seen Ray Charles live. I just, what a night that would have been. This is the Mo-Fi recording of Genius Sings the Blues. Not the greatest Mo-Fi in the world, if you ask me. It sounds okay. It's not, I don't know. I don't think it's really audiophile, but it's a wonderful collection of music by Ray Charles, and just a terrific record. But this is the one that got away. This is the guy that I should have gone to see when I had a chance, and I didn't. Next up is, how did I phrase it? This is an artist that I'm really happy I got to see before it all ended, and that is Frank Sinatra. I was lucky enough to see Frank Sinatra at a casino down in Indiana. He was there. It was early 80s, and he wasn't doing so good. He was horrible. But it was Frank Sinatra, and I got to see him. This is a pretty cool collection. 2 sensational albums in one hit package. It's the Try a Little Tenderness and the self-titled Frank Sinatra. You guys can see that. 2 really good albums. I got to see Frank Sinatra, and pretty cool. He wasn't very good. I think he would pass away shortly after that, within a couple of years. It was basically spoken word at that point. Okay, next up is, oh, okay. Well, this one, can you tell I have something in my eye? Okay. We're gonna get through it because I don't edit. HubTunes does not edit. Have you noticed? I'm sure you all have by at this point. This next one is probably one of my favorite concert memories of my entire life. I say that a lot. I used to go to South by Southwest, and my good friend Bruce was always on top of things, always on top of things. I mean, if you've ever been to South by Southwest, there are thousands, literally thousands of bands playing at hundreds and hundreds of venues all over the city. Like, I saw Pete Townsend in a club that holds 200 people. I've seen, so many artists in tiny, tiny venues, just throwing up a stage in a parking lot. And one day we were getting ready to we were just doing our thing, walking around, getting ready to hit shows. And he's like, so who do you have on your list? And I named off my list, and he named off his list. And he's like, you don't have Amy Winehouse on your list. I'm like, who the fuck is Amy Winehouse? And he's like, she's some girl from Britain. She's got a beehive, and she's really, really popular over there. I was like, I don't know anything about her, but that's what South by Southwest is all about. You go see bands you've never heard. I was like, well, let's do it. So we're standing in line. She's playing at La Zona Rosa. And we're standing in line, and we're hearing the mumblings of everybody in the line. She was scheduled to play 5 shows, like the whole week at South by Southwest. She hadn't shown up for any of them. And the line is like 50 people long to get in. And I look at my friend Bruce, I'm like, she better be fucking good. He's like, oh, she better show. And I was like, yep. So we get in. It's delayed. I'm like, I don't know who the fuck she is. She ain't showing. We were getting ready to leave, and then you could kind of feel the buzz that things were happening. So we kind of moved closer to the stage. I was literally 5 feet from the stage. And this girl comes out. First of all, she's got a smoking band. She's got fantastic leads, backup singers. Her band was top notch. These guys were awesome. I mean, I didn't know anything about her. Rehab had not come out in the U.S. Frank had been out in the U.K. I think Back to Black had just been released in the U.K. None of it was in the U.S. We didn't know. Nobody knew who this girl was. And she comes out. Her beehive is all over the place. She's got a red Solo cup. She puts it down on the stage right in front of her. Jack and Coke. I could smell it from 5 feet away. And she just starts. And the whole place... Oh, I could show the record. You guys all know this. She starts playing and blows the roof off this place. She was on point and on fire for an hour and 15 minutes. She did not let up. She was drunk as fuck, but she was having fun. She was laughing. She was, cackling and talking to the audience, and she was stumbling. She was having a hard time. She nailed every single song. I walked out of there with my jaw on the ground. Everybody who was in that audience could not believe what they had just seen. She was phenomenal. And this is Amy Winehouse, Back to Black, the artist that I got to see before they became famous and absolutely blew my mind. And of course, we all know what happened in the years to come, which is devastatingly sad. Absolutely horrible. Wow. Next one. Band you've seen the most at an outdoor music festival. There's always that band that is on every bill. They're usually in the smaller font, but they're always there. They're like a mainstay. And for me, when I was going to outdoor music festivals on a regular basis, which isn't as much anymore, I had to narrow it down to two bands because it's probably this band. And this is a band called Foals. They're great, really high energy rock, a lot of drumming, a really, really good band. This is their album from 2020. This is called, oh dear, Everything Not Saved Will Be Lost. And this is part one. There was a part two. A lot of people like part two better. I like part one. I think this one's great. But this is Foals. And this is probably the band that I have seen the most at an outdoor music festival. I've seen them indoors several times since, and they are a powerhouse live. If you like high energy, fun, just rock, they're great live. The other band, I pulled this just because I love them, and I've also seen them so many times at live music festivals, is the Kills. This is Alison Mochat and her partner, I forget his name, Jim, I'm not sure. Oh, well, that's just awful, Mike. You gotta at least acknowledge his name. Yeah, I probably won't find it. Yeah. Anyway, this is Alison Mochat, I believe. I probably butchered that. She's also in The Dead Weather with Jack White. She is a terrific lead singer. She just crawls the stage. She prances around like a tiger. She is absolutely wonderful live. And this is probably the band I've seen just as many times as the Foals at an outdoor music festival. Great band, the Kills. Next, a hometown band that you've seen. So somebody from your hometown. And of course, this is an easy one. I live in Chicago. We got a lot of hometown bands. So I'm not showing Styx. I'm not showing Cheap Trick. I'm not showing REO Speedwagon. I'm not showing, you know who I'm showing. Wilco, one of my favorite bands. This is my favorite Wilco album. This is Yankee Hotel Foxtrot. While they were recording this album, they lost their record contract, and it basically was released on bootleg. Everybody in Chicago and probably the United States owned a copy of this album long before it came out, and it still went gold, and it is a fantastic album. If you ask me, I think this is Wilco at their peak. I like everything they do, but this is a absolute stone cold masterpiece. This is a band from my hometown who I've seen 26 times, I believe. When we used to see Wilco back in the Lounge Acts days, and yeah, I've seen. We're very lucky in Chicago too. They treat us well. They play a lot of shows here. So although no shows on, well, we have one show on the upcoming tour, but yeah, Wilco, one of my favorite bands. Next up is a classic. Yes. Next up is a classic rock band that you have seen. So I don't know, classic rock, is that a genre? I think it is. I mean, it could be. So a classic rock band that you've seen. You guys know classic rock. I don't think I need to explain that to you. This is a band I saw in the early 80s, probably on the Word of Mouth tour? No. It was the tour before Word of Mouth. But this is the Kinks. I was lucky enough to see the Kinks. It was the tour with Come Dancing. What was that? State of Confusion? It was that album. That's the tour I saw them on. But let's not talk about that album because it's not very good. Let's talk about this freaking masterpiece. This is a 70s pop masterpiece. This is Sleepwalker. This is I know a lot of people love the 60s Kinks, and yeah, absolutely, there's nothing wrong with the 60s Kinks. I like the 70s Kinks. I like this. I like Misfits. Low budget kind of lost me. I think that's 80s. But this album is one of my favorite records. It's a masterpiece. Life on the Road, Mr. Big Man, Sleepwalker, Jukebox Music, Sleepless Night, Life Goes On. Awesome song. This is probably my favorite Kinks album. I know, probably not a popular opinion. I love Arthur and the other stuff, but now this is it for me. This is my wheelhouse. It's just that sweet 70s Kinks. It didn't last long. It got bad quick. But God, I love this record. Sleepwalker by the Kinks, my classic rock band that I got to see live. Oh, we're winding down, guys. We're winding down. Number 16, the best guitarist you ever saw live. Santana, obviously, I mentioned earlier. I think Santana is the most versatile guitarist I've ever seen live. He can play anything. He can play anything. Blues, jazz, fusion, rock, Latin. Carlos Santana is probably the best living guitarist, in my opinion. Doesn't mean it's your opinion. But he's the best living guitarist right now. But the best guitarist I ever saw live was Stevie Ray Vaughan. This is the MoFi one step of Couldn't Stand the Weather. What do I say? I got to see Stevie twice. I saw him once at the Holiday Star Theater with my good friend Angelo, who's probably not watching, but Angelo, I'm shouting you out. We went to this theater. It probably holds 2,000 people at the most, probably less. The Isley Brothers opened for Stevie, and they were fantastic. And Stevie Ray Vaughan came out. This place is carpeted. That's how tiny and nice this place was. And Stevie Ray Vaughan was there. And I think we were probably 10th or 15th row. Not a huge crowd. And I'm telling you, guys, I've never, ever seen guitar played like this. Ever. It was... Words cannot describe what Stevie Ray Vaughan did to that guitar that night. It was absolutely phenomenal. I believe that was the Texas Flood Tour. I think that was his first album that won all the Grammys. Yeah, it was just... I'm speechless right now, as you can tell. I also got to see Stevie again at Alpine Valley as part of I think it was part of the Crossroads with Eric Clapton. Clapton was doing that Crossroads kind of concert thing. It was him and Robert Cray was there and Stevie Ray Vaughan. And of course, that was the night that Stevie's helicopter crashed after the concert. So, yeah, two iconic Stevie Ray Vaughan performances that I will never, ever, ever forget. Yeah, Stevie Ray Vaughan, the greatest guitarist I've ever seen live. And this MoFi, yeah, get it. It's fantastic. Best drummer you ever saw live? Yeah, this is an easy one. Is it an easy one? I don't know. I've seen a lot of good drummers. I'm not a big drummer guy. I obviously jazz drummers I think are beyond talented, majority of them. Phil Collins was a hell of a drummer. I almost went with Jerry Marotta, who was the drummer for Peter Gabriel on the Security tour. And I almost went with him because he was absolutely fantastic. But Neil Peart, by far the best drummer I've ever seen in my life. This is Hemisphere is my favorite Rush album. Very prog probably their proggiest of prog albums. I never really considered Rush a prog band, but this would be their prog album. This is absolutely a fantastic album. And if you guys ever got to see Neil Peart and Rush live, you know what I'm talking about. It was something to behold. I'm sorry, if you're not Neil Peart, you shouldn't be doing a drum solo. Usually drum solos are when I go to the bathroom, unless you are one of the great drummers of all time, and there's very, very few of them still around. But you know who's really good? The guy from Tool. I'm not a big Tool fan, but man, that guy can, what's his name? Mike, I forget his last name. That guy can drum. He is phenomenal. I would actually go see Tool live. I kind of like Tool. I'm not dissing Tool. I like Tool. But tickets are usually super expensive, and they don't tour very much, and they play, football stadiums. But I would go see him live. If he did a drum solo, I wouldn't go to the bathroom. Anyway, I digress. Neil Peart, the greatest drummer I've ever saw live. No doubt about it. You guys, hands down, the greatest drummer I've ever saw live. Number 18. We're almost done, guys. If you're still hanging in there. This is my longest video in a while. You guys don't have to do one this long. It's mostly long because I'm rambling about things and telling stories and drinking wine. Best vocalist that I ever saw. I saw a lot of vocalists. Duh. Robert Plant on the Principle of Moments tour was a highlight for me in my entire life. Was he the vocalist that he was in Zeppelin? No. I've seen a ton of great vocalists. I saw Barbra Streisand. She was fucking good. She can sing. I'm pulling this one out. This is another South by Southwest moment. And I'm showing this album. This is Concrete Blonde, Bloodletting. This is the album, their big album with Joey and a couple other hits. Probably the most underrated rock singer of all time is Johnette Napolitano. You've heard me talk about her on this channel several times. She's a goddess in my eyes. I got to see her solo live at South by Southwest in the lounge at the Hilton Hotel. I think it was the Hilton. Yeah, I think it was the Hilton Hotel. And it was her and a piano. And she had a solo album out at the time, which was wonderful. And she did a whole bunch of Concrete Blonde songs, just her and a piano. And I'm telling you guys, vocally, this woman could hold up against anybody in rock and roll, country, anybody. Her chops are unbelievable, especially live. Johnette Napolitano, my favorite vocalist today. Best bassist you've ever seen live. This was tough because I've seen Geddy Lee, obviously. Can't go wrong with Geddy Lee. I saw John Paul Jones on Them Vultures tour. Good. He was good. He was overshadowed by the rest of the band. I've seen Les Claypool. Man, he's good. I saw him with the Lennon Claypool Delirium, and wow, he is a hell of a bassist. But I'm going with Flea. Seen Flea a couple of times. This is a band that you guys are probably like, you like Red Hot Chili Peppers after all those jazz albums and shit you show? I love the Red Hot Chili Peppers. I think they're fantastic. And Flea, the best bassist I've ever seen live. It's a close second with Les Claypool and Geddy Lee. You can't go wrong with any of those three. But Flea is my favorite bassist that I've seen. live. He did that thing with what's his name from Radiohead, and that was terrific. What's his name? Tom York. That was really cool. He's done some really good solo stuff. Check out his solo stuff. But I'm going with Flea, and of course this is Mother's Milk, the iconic, brilliant smash album by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Number 20, you guys made it. Well, some of you did. Most of you probably signed out long ago. Number 20 is the best frontman or front woman you ever saw in a band. There's a lot of them. I saw David Coverdale. I saw Mick Jagger. I've seen Robert Plant. I've seen some of the greatest frontmen of all time. But I don't think there's any better than, and this also could have gone in my best vocalist. This almost went in my best vocalist, but this is kind of how the list unfolded. But I saw Freddie Mercury, the greatest frontman of all time. This is gonna get lots of glare. This is the Game. This is my favorite Queen album. Probably not a popular opinion. This is my favorite Queen album. I love this album. This is Play the Game, Dragon Attack, Another One Bites the Dust, Need Your Lovin' Tonight, Rocket, Don't Try Suicide, Save Me, Crazy Little Thing Called Love. I love this record. Yeah, I got to see Queen, Freddie Mercury on the Hot Space tour. Not a great tour. Not a great album. Hot Space was, yeah. But I was pretty young and I didn't care. It was Queen. I've said this in other videos. News of the World was one of the first albums I ever bought with my own paper route money. Freddie Mercury, the greatest frontman I ever saw live. That's it. My first Vinyl Thread Tag 2021. And we're at 47 minutes and 15 seconds. Should I end it now or ramble on about more? It's over. Thanks for watching, you guys. Please jump on, tag me, support everyone out there in the VC. You guys, this is still, I think I'm 42 videos into this, and I'm still having fun, which I didn't think I would be doing. So yeah, let's keep this going. Guys, stay safe. Love ya.